Good evening, YouTubers. Welcome back into another edition of Astros Recap. David Artis back at it here. It is Sunday evening, 5:37 p.m. I am at the radio station, so that's why you got the dull sort of gray background part of the door there. But this is what we got going tonight. Back at work, obviously, at the trip. I talked to you actually on Friday about the mid-season report card update thing. Big series. Astros taking 2 of the first 3. Got one more game tomorrow. But Astros went 4-2 this week. First time I've been able to talk about a winning week. It feels like in forever because the Astros, I went 3-3 last week. They went like 2-5 the week prior. 3-4, 4-3 1 week. It just feels like it's been a whole lot of just stuck in neutral, not winning games, not winning series the way you would expect them to. But big credit this week. You should take 2 or 3 in St. Louis, at least, and they were able to do that after losing the opener, which to win back-to-back games there to win that series was big, and obviously going into this series. Also big. And the Astros got one more game. It's sort of weird here because you sit here on a Sunday and, you usually think, you got, the series ends usually on Sunday. But this one, the one series all year where it sort of wraps around to Monday. So one more afternoon game tomorrow, and very important. Give the Astros a decent chance at winning the division if they can actually pick up the win tomorrow. If they don't, then that's going to make things a lot tougher. You split the series. I mean, you start where you finish. You didn't lose ground, but you also didn't gain ground. And chasing down the Rangers, I mean, the Rangers split, obviously, at this point, they're fine because they didn't lose any ground. When you're chasing down a team, you got to pick up games when, you get the opportunity here. So, anyway, the Astros actually right now have a game and a half lead as they're actually tied for the second wild card with New York. So, if the season were to end, the Astros would make the playoffs as the 2 or 3 seed in the wild card. That's not where you want to be. You want to win your division, ideally, and ideally you want to actually get that first round bye. But we're just trying to win games, and obviously this is an important series, and the Astros have done their job to this point. But one more game to get, if they can tomorrow, it would be huge to walk out of this and come back home, taking 3 or 4, and really tightening up the division. But again, I did my report card on Friday, 2 days ago, so we're here now. Just a few things. Like I said, it's 5:39. I got to be, to do the news here in less than 20 minutes. Also, there's rain in the area. EAS, which stands for Emergency Alert System, is something I have to activate. There are storms in the area, so I have to be on just prepared for that. So I'm going to try to get done with this, though, before I have to do any of that. I might have to slide over at some point just to make sure something's playing here. But if you hear background noise, that is just the radio, just what's playing right now on 740. So we're going to try to get into this. Also, one more thing. I have a live show coming up at 7 o'clock tonight, so I think I have prepared everything for that, but that's also something I have to deal with. So if I have to slide over momentarily, just know that, I'm at work right now. So... But I was in St. Louis for 2 of those 3 games. On the road, we were stuck in Texarkana for the final game there. Well, that's where we stopped on the way back. But obviously losing the first game, that was a tough one. Just couldn't get anything going offensively. Valdez wasn't on his A game. Again, he gave up 4 runs. It wasn't the worst thing in the world, but really the offense couldn't get going. Lose that 4-2. Wednesday, the Astros were down. I mean, they scored 3 runs in the first inning, and it looked like, they were going to put up some runs and win this game pretty easily, and then they cough it all up in the first inning. Javier, that was his second bad start in a row. He really was not good at all. So the Astros put up 3 in the top half of the first. They allowed 4 in the bottom half. And then, they tacked on some runs there, the Cardinals, and it didn't feel good because they were down 6-3. They did cut it to 6-5. Maldi had a 2-run double. Then, I'm not sure exactly what it was, but they put up another run there in the 6th inning to make it 7-5. And then the Astros broke out in the 8th inning. Obviously, Altuve, big 3-run home run. Abreu, 2-run shot for the insurance, and then, Abreu and Presley really closed that game out there to get the win. Well, Seth Martinez actually got the win out of the bullpen, but that was a big, I felt like, turning point because they're about to go down 2-0 in the series, and the Cardinals, who have struggled this year, so that's not a team you should lose to or lose the series to. But they win that one 7-1, and then on Thursday, this is sort of the game I missed. The Astros jumped out early, 6-0 lead, and they added on. Bregman hit a big grand slam. Tucker had a big 3-run home run. 14-0. So, yeah, that's shocking. Things we've learned this year with the Astros, when they put up big runs one night, they usually get shut out or score 1 or 2 runs the next night. But to have a 10-run output on Wednesday and come back on Thursday with 14 runs, that was nice to see, to say the least. And the one game where you actually can use Rafael Montero without him messing things up is in that game. And I think he pitched the last 2 innings. So J.P. France went 7 shutout, and then Montero got 2 innings. Obviously, no leverage whatsoever. Up 14 runs. That's when you use Montero. Up 10 or down 10. Any other situation, it's really hard to use him at all. He pitched yesterday. Now, the Astros were down 4-0 in yesterday's game, so he allowed a run. It was unearned. The defense sort of failed him a little bit. As we're going into a break here, just make sure things play here the way they're supposed to. So give me 1 second. All right. Sounds good for now. But yeah, Montero did pitch yesterday. It's watching him closely. I should be DFA'd right now, and I said that last week as we were traveling on the road to St. Louis. I think he should have been DFA'd, but he's not. And the reason he's not is because the Astros are stubborn. They paid him a lot of money, and no matter how bad he's been, they're gonna try to make things work at some point. But right now, you can't use him in any tight game. And if Dusty makes the mistake again, he deserves to. I can't deal with it anymore, I feel like. So, give me 1 second here. Just slide over and get my water there for a second. But yeah, it's pretty clear right now when it comes to our bullpen. When you got a lead, like today's a good example. Sean Dubin going 4 innings, obviously not going very deep, but they weren't expecting him to. They were capping his pitch count around 60, 70 pitches, I think. But him to go 4 innings and give up 1 run did his job. Yeah, Mashinsky get you through the 5th. And then sort of what you look at back in of the game, they went Maton, Neris, Abreu, Presley. Now, Abreu gave up the 2-run home run, but other than that, that's sort of the sort of scenario you'll see, I feel like, quite a bit when it comes to our bullpen late in games. You'll see some Maton, you see Neris, you'll see Abreu, Presley. Presley looks good now. I have faith in him that he can, he had a little bit of a speed bump there, a few weeks, a month ago, but I feel like the last however many games he's been in, he's been pretty rock solid, so that's good. But yeah, you won both series. Well, this series isn't over, so you're either going to split or you're going to take 3 or 4. I think tomorrow's game is actually very big because the difference between splitting a series and making up no ground, or taking 3 or 4 and actually gaining 2 games, is a pretty big difference. So I think tomorrow's game, as far as an early July game, actually holds a little more significance than any other regular season game. So tomorrow's game, I think, is important to get out there and get. Now, Javier pitches, and you can't feel super comfortable with the way he's done. With the way he's done the last 2 starts, you can't feel very comfortable, but hopefully he can bounce back and give us a quality outing, and the offense has to show up, obviously. So, but yeah, you win Friday's game. The one game I didn't talk about, into Arlington. Altuve had the big leadoff home run there. I want to say Dubon came through. Yeah, he had the big 2-run double. But the Rangers were up 3-1, and we were able to come back and score 4 unanswered and then close that game out. So, Friday's game was a big one to get to start the series. Losing yesterday, we talked about that. Offense, I mean, Tucker hit a 2-run home run in the ninth, but that was about it. I mean, after that, well, that was it. I mean, 2 runs after they were down 5-0 at that point. So, but yeah, I mean, you take 2 or 3 in St. Louis, and now you're back here, not at home here in Arlington, but you're in Texas. To take 2 or 3 in the series so far, got one more important game tomorrow, just to mention, but finally looking better. Able to gain some games. The Angels, I'm looking at my phone now, but the Angels, I think, were winning when I checked. Is their game over? Yeah, they won today, but they still are 2 games back of the Astros. And Toronto's a team you've been scoreboard watching a little bit more lately because they do hold, we actually have overtaken them now by a game and a half, and we're tied with the Yankees, like I mentioned, for that second wild card spot. But the Blue Jays team you need to keep a close eye on. But if you can pick up a W tomorrow, you're within 3 of the division lead, and that's obviously the goal, is to catch Texas. So I know I didn't really go through a whole lot in terms of numbers with players. Presley gets his 17th save today. Neris, the winner of the bullpen. 1.07 ERA for Neris. As we mentioned, he's been great. But Dubin, getting his first major league start. He had a few outings in the bullpen where he was just so-so. His first outing, I don't know if it was his debut, but against the Mets a while back, we actually gave up 5 runs in the 9th inning, but they left him out there to dry just to try to get through the game. That's what inflated the ERA, basically. So it's at 7, and that's actually gone down because it was at like 30-something after his first outing. But he went 3 innings and actually threw about 50 to 60 pitches out of the bullpen just to save the guys in there. So, but yeah, I mean, he did the best you could hope for today. 1 run. I know it was only 4 innings, but again, he threw, let's see here, if I can find, 68 pitches. That was about what they could have hoped for. But Parker Mashinsky was called up for Ronel Blanco. That was sort of an interesting one for me. I mean, Blanco's last 2 starts has been good. He got the win on Friday, but they sent him back down to bring up Mashinsky, who's been here once this year, not that great. But he did throw a scoreless inning, the 5th inning today, and as I said, Maton, Neris, Abreu, Presley. Abreu being the only sort of one that didn't do the job. He did get 2 strikeouts, but, he walked a guy, I think. 2 hits, might have been 2 hits, gave up the home run. But luckily, Chaz with the big hit today. The big 3-run triple off the right field wall, clearing the bases, was big. Gave them some insurance runs, which they proved to need. So Altuve giving them one more with the home run in the 9th. But again, good to get the win, and it puts them in a good spot hopefully tomorrow to take 3 or 4. As Javier, who struggled, will get the start. We'll see. And Martin Perez, who's 7-3 with a 4.28 ERA. ERA's not very good, but the Astros have struggled against Martin Perez years in the past. So. Injuries still got him. Pena's been out the last 3 games dealing with, I think, a stiff neck is what I heard on the post-game show. So there's that. Obviously, Alvarez, no word on him. Same thing with Brantley. With Brantley, you can't expect him to play until he's actually on the roster. We talk about Brantley, and obviously he had the rehab assignment. It looked like he was rejoining the team, and then the setback, and yeah. And the Astros don't keep you in the loop with any of their injury updates, which is ridiculous that they don't tell you what's going on. And they want to have some big announcement. It's stupid. But, it's hard. I'm not going to trust Brantley will actually be on this team until he's actually activated. So I don't care about a rehab assignment or any of that. But Alvarez, we'll just got to wait and see. Hopefully the All-Star break will do well. The Astros do have 2 guys, which is just Alvarez and Fromber. Neither of them are going to play. Obviously, Alvarez is injured. They're skipping Fromber's start, who is supposed to start tomorrow. Actually, is supposed to start today. But they skipped his start because he's dealing with some I can't remember what issue it is. It's like a foot issue, or I don't know exactly what it is, but they're skipping his start near the All-Star break, so he's going to have some time off here. I thought I might have heard Belak is going to get a start. Like, they sent down Blanco. Blanco would get one more start before the All-Star break, but yeah. Anyway, yeah. I mean, I'm not 15 minutes. Guess I could talk for about 4 more minutes here, but trying to think here. You know, Eovaldi got the best of them. They could, like, today's game did not feel good. I mean, they got shut out in the first 5 innings, and they could do nothing against Andrew Heaney. I mean, Heaney's not a good pit. I mean, he's okay, but you shouldn't struggle against Andrew Heaney. I mean, an ERA, I mean, it's a 4.12 after 5 shutout innings. I mean, but it wasn't looking good. And we finally got to their bullpen there a little bit, but yeah, it wasn't looking good early on. Get some late offense though to win that game. So I give the Astros credit for today. The bullpen, aside from Brian Abreu doing their job, you know. But yeah, I mean, Javier struggled. Fromber obviously wasn't good in his last start. Now he's dealing with an issue. So the rotation's a little bit in shambles here. I mean, I like J.P. France. I've made that aware. No word on Urquidy. That's the other injury. Obviously, we know Garcia's gone for the year. You've had Blanco, Belak mix in and out, Dubin today. It's a tough story when it comes to the rotation, especially if you don't have Fromber and Javier anchoring the rotation as 1 and 2 like they have for the majority of the year, you know? But yeah, we'll wait and see. It'd be nice to get Urquidy back with some depth there. I imagine at the deadline they'll be looking at a starter, possibly a guy that you can rely on, maybe as a low-end 2, high-end 3 type guy. Obviously, I need another bat in the lineup. And, you know, in the perfect world, you also get a reliever. I mean, I think I've mentioned this in the past, but they need help in every aspect, I feel like. Not multiple guys, but if you get one starter that you can rely on, for the most part, one more reliable bat, and another reliable reliever, I mean, that's 3 things that Dana Brown needs to address at the deadline. And again, he's going to be graded here. I mean, they brought him over, and all I've heard from Dana Brown so far, since he got hired, is a bunch of talk about things he wants to do. He wants to lock up Tucker. He wants to lock up Valdez. This, that, and third. I don't like to hear the talk. Make it happen. So he's going to be graded here, and so far Dana Brown hasn't done anything. Now, I haven't expected him to do a whole lot, obviously. I mean, the deadline's another month away, but yeah. But all I've heard from Dana Brown all year is just talk about things that he wants to do. And I don't like to hear about talk. I mean, you're going to state something to make it happen. But the deadline's going to be the big thing here coming up in a month. So, but yeah, I mean, all in all, this week I can't be upset. They went 4-2, and you know they got a big game tomorrow. That's one more they got to get. If you know they come out of this series with a split, you haven't done anything. You just stayed pat. Which for the Rangers side, from the Raiders' point of view, they're probably happy with that. They lead the division. They had a 5-game lead. It's down to 4. But if they walk out of this series with the same 5-game lead, they're fine. The Astros are trying to run them down. There's the difference. So the Astros look at it, you know, if the 4-game series, it's a lost cause if you split, you know. You got to take 3 or 4 if you want to actually, you know, make a run at this division here. So still a lot of season to go, though, so you can't overreact either way. But I think tomorrow's game, in terms of an early July game, is a pretty big one. Coming up here, I got less than 4 minutes to go. But yeah, I'll wrap things up there. Again, we'll talk to you again next week. It'll probably be, I don't know the exact schedule. Well, the All-Star break. So actually, I'll have a little bit of extra time if I need it. But be wrapping up 7 more games. The finale tomorrow against the Rangers. You'll get 3 with Colorado. You should take 2 or 3 there. And then you'll go play the Mariners. Well, you'll stay here. Colorado and Seattle will come to Houston here. And the Mariners losing 2 or 3 up there in Seattle. It'll be nice to take 2 or 3. But again, 5-2 is sort of the goal in a 7-game week. If they can do that, going to the All-Star break on a high note, things would be very good. So, yeah, we'll wrap things up there. And we'll talk to you next week.